Well, hello again. This is Lindsay Heyer, once again, coming to you from Upfront Counseling Solutions, right here in Medicine Hat. So last time I talked about criticism. So criticism is one of the four horsemen. Pretty ominous, pretty challenging, right? So today I wanted to talk about the second horseman. And the second horseman is defensiveness. Remember last time I said, be careful. It's like the 1-2 punch. You know, if you criticize me, I'm going to become defensive. So get ready, right? So today I want to talk a little bit about how those two things react off of each other. First of all, if I come home and I'm criticized, and I feel then like it's a personal attack. I feel not valued. I feel like I'm under siege, and so it's this perceived attack on me as a person. Like I'm not good enough. I didn't do it right. And so I automatically go on the defensive. And then when I go on the defensive, then the other person feels as though whatever they said is going to be completely unimportant and dismissed. And when they feel that what they criticize me about is then dismissed, they get angrier, they get more frustrated, they get more worked up. And then it creates this cycle then, the circular round and around cycle of then it's just a fight. It's not a discussion, it's not a dialogue, it's like a fight. My partner then becomes the bad guy or the enemy. Okay, how do we get out of this circular type of fight? Well, instead of just criticizing your partner, what do you need in that situation? So you want to go to the soft startup. And also, instead of, so that way it breaks that cycle of defensiveness. Now in defensiveness, the antidote is, well, take responsibility for something that maybe you could have done better. For example, you come home and you typically walk the dog and you take care of the dog and it's part of your responsibility, right? And then your partner says to you, you never, I told you to look after the dog, and the dog did a big doo-doo right in the middle of the floor, the kitchen floor, and it really grossed me out. Thanks a lot, right? So you feel like, oh, I'm a failure, I can't do anything right. Then you come back to your partner, okay, you instead of just becoming defensive, you can say, okay, listen, I do take care of the dog. I do take him for walks, and yes, I did forget to take him for a walk the other day. But I do try. So it's not everything I do is wrong. But how about this? It's more difficult between work and coming home from school to take the dog for a walk at that time. Can we look at a different schedule for when I'm going to actually walk the dog? So I'm doing a soft startup and I'm offering a solution so we can look at it just a bit differently. So I break that cycle between criticism and defensiveness. I have had couples that they're all ready for the fight, right? And they come down, they sit on their couch, they're just getting ready to duke it out. And then the wife remembers what we've talked about in session. And then all of a sudden, the wife says to herself, thinking to herself, she says, I'm going to put some of the things in practice that I've actually learned in counseling. So she thinks, okay, what was my part? What could I have done better? What was my responsibility? And she said, you know what? When this came up, I have to admit, I was really frustrated, but I overreacted. And at times it feels like you think you have to fix me, and I just wanted to be heard and understood at the time. And what I was getting, I was just feeling the kind of like this anger coming from you, and I didn't know why. And I just got caught off guard, and so I overreacted. And you know what? I'm gonna work on that. Now the other partner said, oh my, in his mind, he's thinking, okay, I was ready for the fight. I was ready to criticize my partner. I was ready, and now I have to rethink it. So he said, just give me a moment. And he was thinking about, okay, what did I do in that argument that I could have said or did differently, even if it was the tone of my voice, the reaction, being judgmental, whatever it was. What was I doing that I can tell my partner, you know what, I'm going to work on this, but this is what I needed in that situation. And I'm sorry I approached it the wrong way. So it's about moving forward, offering solutions, and also having that soft startup and creating a dialogue. It also means being vulnerable. When your partner admits to something, just don't mash it into, yeah, I knew I was right. Because the argument is more like I would often say, there's a loser and then there's a real loser, and you're both losers. Because you didn't focus on really just understanding the need of your partner and creating a dialogue and addressing the real concern and the real problem. So the whole idea of criticism, and now we're talking about defensiveness, is break the cycle, and be able to be obviously more vulnerable to your partner. And it's about not so much who's winning and who's losing, but how do we do this differently? How do we take responsibility for our part? And how can we just do this better as far as walking through this challenge or conflict and come up with a better solution? Well, thank you once again. This is the second Horseman, which is the focus of defensiveness and the antidote. So, coming to you from Medicine Hat, look me up on YouTube, Upfront Counseling Solutions, or the website, upfrontcounselingsolutions.com. Have a great day. And if you need a counselor, come down to Upfront Counseling Solutions, downtown Medicine Hat. Take care. Have a great day.